Does that help?
Yep. I need to reverse the thing because we don't want me.
Hello, hello. All right, everyone, we're going to get started in about a minute here. If you haven't already, we're going to be doing a couple polls along the way tonight. There is a QR code up on the screen. Normally it's a little bit bigger, but we're doing the best we can with what we have. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you'll be able to participate in all of the polls. If you're on the Zoom, you can also kind of screenshot that really easily and take advantage of the polls and participate. So we'll give everyone about a minute or two, and then we'll go ahead and get started. If you have not got yourself any food, we have plenty of it. There's tons of spaghetti and salad. We have an amazing array of desserts. So feel free, get yourself a plate, sit down, and enjoy learning about the levy. Yes, I go. All right, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming this evening to our second public meeting. We have a great amount of food here, and I want to personally thank the entire Chippewa Local Schools staff, cafeteria staff, teachers, other staff members, students who've all stepped up here and made this entirely possible tonight. They came and ran with it, and they've done an amazing job. And they're doing it all for this community and all of your kiddos. So let's give them a quick round of applause and thank them. And I'm sure a lot of the staff are going to be eating a lot of this food tomorrow too. So they've made a ton of it, so it's really cool. All right, so tonight it's going to be a little, if you came to the first public meeting, it's going to be sort of less of that talking to. We're going to have a really cool interactive component. We have a panel coming up here in a minute. We have a few things we're going to kind of do quick up front. If you remember from the previous meeting, we like to do polls along the way to get kind of a a sense of the audience and keep everyone participating. And I always like to start with a real softball one, mostly to make sure your phones actually work. So the Cavs are a big thing right now, and I thought we'd put a quick poll together here of who your favorite Cavs player is. This is a good way to test if you want to vote A, B, C, or D. And we have a lot of Kevin Love fans. And if you either like Kevin Love or you don't like basketball at all, which is an interesting dynamic there. We'll give it a couple more seconds here for folks. Hopefully that means everyone's stuff is working. All right, so we're gonna go to our second poll here. We're doing another poll right off of the bat here. And this is a question here about the levy. Is your mind already made up of the levy? Are you coming here to learn? Or you already have your mind sort of made up of what you're doing? Hopefully in a positive sense. Well, the good news is we can account to this many votes of everybody in the room. That's a positive sign. All right. So we got a lot of people here that got their mind made up. Hopefully it's positive, but if it's not, hopefully tonight sort of helps you through that. So with that, what are you hoping to learn about the levy tonight? So this is a little different here. It's a free form, so you can type something in, and if you see something of the answers you like on your screen, you can +1 it, you can arrow it up if it's something you agree with as well. So what are you hoping to learn here tonight? Value of our tax dollar, that's a good one. What else do we have? Somebody else likes the value of their tax dollars. Somebody else likes the value of their tax dollars. This seeming we're onto a theme here. Report card information, okay. Couple votes for that one there. And while we're doing this, for anybody who is joining through on the Zoom, or if you're on the Facebook Live, feel free to ask questions through those channels. We have people that are monitoring both of them, and they can relay those into the room here as well. At the end, we're going to do a big Q&A at the end. We'll also do a little bit of a Q&A at the end of the panel as well, but we can relay some of those questions in. So we'll give it another quick minute here. All right. So we got the value of our tax dollars for report card information. Hopefully we're going to get on a bunch of that tonight. So as we all know, less than a week from today is election day, and up for it is the renewal of the 1% school district income tax that has been a part of our community for 15 years now. And this tax is just more than just part of the school's budget, but it impacts so much that we see here. It impacts all of our schools. It enables our schools to keep everything updated here and the upkeep, and ensures that we can continue providing an exceptional educational experience. You know, we saw that Chippewa is in the top 20% of schools in Ohio in academic achievement index. And this 1% is a part of that because it helps fund those programs that make it happen. And it helps keep those above and beyond opportunities, from athletics to the arts to other extracurriculars to STEM to robotics. All of that ends up being made possible because of that. It helps our entire community. All of us here who live in the community, we have really strong property values, and it's because of the schools that are here. You know, as we did the Todd Talks, I would talk to each of the building principals, and the one interesting thing that they would tell me is that they would have people that are looking to move into town, and they would come talk to them, and they said part of the reason they chose Doylestown is because of the strength of these schools. So it's noted, people see it outside, that's why they want to move in here. And this 1% helps keep that going. And most importantly, well, maybe not most importantly, but I think most pertinently to everyone, this isn't a new tax. This is something that's been a part of our community now for 15 years. And passing this is a renewal, and it keeps your taxation exactly the same. It doesn't change. So I'm just kind of curious, what do you all think as we looked at those benefits? What would you say is sort of that most significant benefit of sort of those five? So the revenue, the upkeep, the exceptional education, the sustainable funding for above and beyond, the local economy, or the fact that this just isn't a new tax? What is sort of the most significant benefit each of you see? And the exceptional education sticks out there, and I'm not surprised because our survey we did this summer showed that the biggest thing this community appreciated, was the staff and the work that they put into it. So I'm not surprised that that's out in front. Got sustainable funding, but I think exceptional education is killing it out there right now. We'll give it a few more seconds here. All right, so big on exceptional education, and that is one thing that this 1%, if it renews, is able to help provide our community and our schools. So we have a panel tonight, and we're really fortunate to have some great folks from around the community, some that have been a part of this community for decades, some are the up and coming people in the community, and sort of everyone in between. So I want to do a few introductions for folks. I'm going to start at the front. This guy here doesn't need any introduction. Carl Doolin, I don't know if you want to, I'm going to give you all a little microphone here. I'm going to give you this microphone to talk about yourself real quick, and you can hand it down to your friends.
I started out as a child. It's the first time, anyways. Just a few things. I came here in '72. It was my first full-time job. I had a part-time job up in Kent Roosevelt, and I enjoyed it immensely. I had a wonderful group of the class, 72, 73 were just, they got me in a room once and they said, "Mr. Doolin, we ought to go to a field trip." And I said, "Okay." By the way, this guy later on became a full admiral in the Navy. And I said, yeah, that sounds good. Where would you like to go? He said, "The Bahamas." I said, "I don't think the Bahamas will fly." So instead I said, "How would I go to Washington, D.C.? So from that day on, for the next 30 years, 31 years, 32, a long time, we went every year, and it was a good educational experience. And it wasn't my idea, that's my point, it was one of my kids. Keith Drawlinger and Mike Stanley.
You can just hand it down to the next person here. So it's out of order of people who are sitting on the panel, but that's okay here. We'll do next Luke Summers, if he's one of the students in our schools. Luke, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm a sophomore at Chippewa High School. I am in a lot of the drama and like theater arts stuff. You might know me if you watch the marching band. I started track last year, and you'll see me in a lot of plays. But I'm just here. I don't really know what else to say.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Next on the list is Hannah Shade, another student. She's a junior. Hannah.
Hi, my name is Hannah Shade. I am a junior here at Chippewa, and I'm heavily involved in the Chippewa Drama Department. And I mean, you've probably seen me in most of the shows. I've been doing them for forever now. And I've lived in Doylestown my entire life, as well as most of my family. You probably know most of my family. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And next in the list here is one of our staff members, Emily Conyers. Emily, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, yes, I'm Emily Conyers. I teach 3rd grade at CIS. My husband and I are both lifelong residents here in Doylestown, and we have 2 kids who are students, 7th grader Brody and 4th grader Courtney.
Awesome, thank you so much. And at the end of the panel here is a resident of our community, an alumnus of our schools, Lindsay Sossman, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Sossman. I am a 2004 graduate of Chippewa High School. I live in Doylestown now with my husband and my 2 kids, Stella and Roman.
Awesome, thank you. So I got a first question for each of you to answer sort of individually. What does Chippewa mean to each of you? Whoever wants to jump in first, go for it.
Well, I'll go first since I have a microphone.
That's it, that go for it.
What Chippewa means to me is community, it means family, it means supporting one another. We've had many examples of this in this year alone when it comes to health issues, whether it be a staff member, a student, a former student. The people in this community and these schools, they really rally around you and support you. And to me, it's home. It's where we live out our lives every day. We're always involved in something in town. And it's interesting now to watch as a teacher that now I'm at the age where people that I went to school with, I'm now having their kids as students. And it just is kind of a way to show how tightly knit the community is. Chippewa means a lot to me. I love that I can always walk into any restaurant or store in Doylestown and be greeted with a smile and someone who really cares about their customers. The neighborhoods in Chippewa are always so quiet and peaceful. In these neighborhoods, you can just take your kids and they can go run out and have fun with their friends, and you really don't have to worry about them. And no matter where you are in Chippewa, the atmosphere is nothing like anywhere else that I've been.
I definitely agree that Chippewa does feel like a family to me. One of the biggest things, you know, in like the bands and in like theater, drama arts, is that everyone there is a family, and you should be able to treat everybody there like with the love and respect that they deserve. And especially in this community, I've seen that just like everybody's just so nice. Like even just walking in here and sitting down, I was almost immediately offered like just like a drink. I wasn't expecting that when I came here. So it's just a very welcoming community.
She's the mother that came back. I retired 4 years before she even came. Things are getting strange here. I really, when I came here, I had Ernie Moore, Mrs. Dana Miller, and I could go on, Mr. Ift and a bunch of other people, Laura Dennis, and they were all fine teachers. And I know a good number of the teachers here, and I tease Mrs. Platt, she's the finest math teacher I've ever seen. I had to sit in her class once because they paid me like $80 to sit in her class, and it's all right. So I sat in her class, I was afraid to move around, and she was telling those kids, you know, she had wonderful discipline. But then I had the middle school, whatever it's called now. You know, the old high school. I go by that sign, whoever thought that up. Pretty good.
Well, let's keep the microphone with you since you're already at the end there. So what is, for each of you, what is one thing about Chippewa that you find really interesting and valuable, and you might think maybe nobody else really knows about it, or very few people might know about it?
I think it has great staff. It has great support staff. I've known the custodian here his entire life. It has wonderful principals, and matter of fact, they're great principals. And it's just it's the type of vibe, a type of place that I would like to send my grandkids to.
For me, I figured not a lot of people might know about our robotics program and like just how good it is, because Mr. Gosser over there is in charge of it. And we used to have this drones in school kind of club that we did while I was in junior high. And it was exactly what it sounded like. We built our own drones and then we flew them in competitions. And it was a blast. And that's kind of when I realized, hey, I really like this engineering and designing stuff. This might be what I do for the rest of my life. And I was in robotics 1 last year, had a lot of fun with that. Now I'm in robotics 2, build an entire robot on my own, actually asking money from the Lions Club so that I can compete in their actual competition. And it's just, I don't feel like a lot of, even just the kids in our school know about it, but it's a lot of fun.
One thing I find interesting about Chippewa is the massive support that the community has for all of the performances and the matches we have here at Chippewa. As I said earlier, I'm heavily involved in the drama department, so it's really nice to see all of the outpour of support and love that we have for every single show we do. I always know that I can count on most of those seats being filled, not because of the obligation to be there, but because they want to be there and they want to see their students perform well and perform and do things that they love.
I just think that a lot of people don't realize maybe how many teachers and administrators have either grown up here or have moved here and live here. You can't say that about a lot of other districts that are bigger districts. You know, they have teachers coming from all over. Not to say anything bad about teachers that don't live here, but it's just there's quite a few of us that do live here and our entire lives are here. And then something that I didn't even really realize myself until my son came to junior high is just how many electives are offered even at that level, to kind of see how kids are getting interested in different things. Even as early as 7th grade, they're taking criminal justice and coding and finance and stuff like that, that I had no idea he would be able to choose from at 7th grade. Even to being able to take, he took intro to Spanish and intro to French so that he can see next year which one he'd like to pick and start working on high school credits in 8th grade. So that's something that I think a lot of people might not be aware of.
One thing that I thought was interesting, because it was different than when I went to school, is the amount of classes that you can take and earn college credits while being in the building. They offered post-secondary when I was in high school, but you would have to leave and go take those classes. So I just think that's really great that they can earn those credits while being in the building. I think that's a great start to their future and to their careers.
Absolutely, that is a definite big thing that we see so many students do. So I'm gonna pass the mic over to Emily real quick here, and I have one just for her, because she has the trifecta of alumnus, parent, and staff member. And being around just for all of that, how have you seen the district evolve over time to better prepare students?
Yeah, I mean, a big piece of that is obviously technology. As the world has moved on in that area, so the schools have done what they can to keep up with that, make sure the teachers are trained to be able to use that technology on a daily basis. So I definitely think that's one of the biggest pieces. But we've also structured our day, depending on the grade level, our day is structured around being able to do different interventions with kids who might be struggling or need enrichment because they're ahead of the game. And we can just build into our school days, again, depending kind of on the grade level, but that extra time to work with kids, not in just your typical lecture to 25 kids at the same time, but to really sit down with a group of 5 or 6 kids at a time and work on those extra pieces.
Definitely awesome. And I have you pass it right back over to Lindsay. We're back the other way here. So you're also an alumnus, but you're also kind of coming back to the district. You're raising your family. You've chosen to raise your family here. Why is that? Why are you choosing to raise your family here?
So as I mentioned, I have 2 small kids. My daughter Stella is 3.5 and my son Roman is 1.5. My husband is not from Doylestown. So when we were looking to buy our home, we evaluated many different communities, and I definitely looked at the rankings first and foremost to see. I wanted to see what those schools were doing in those communities. And we decided on Doylestown and Chippewa because we really wanted that quality education while still being in a small town. We didn't want our kids getting lost in the bigger school system.
So awesome. So we're gonna take the mic all the way down to the end to the fellow in the teal shirt here. Yeah, you're not dumb. No, you know what? You've been a leader in our community for decades. And what would you say to residents right now on why it's vital to support our schools, even if you don't have children in the district at the moment?
Well, I have an answer for that. And I used to teach history. I'm gonna give you a little history lesson here. I came to this system in 72. By 74, we were in such dire financial straits that we were thinking of even having to close, because we got another levy that went down, and another one that went down. And they were gonna close the school. And they did. As a matter of fact, the people who were teaching in this system that year, we are the only ones to ever apply for and receive, what do they call it when you get it from?
Unemployment?
Unemployment. I got unemployment compensation. Wasn't bad. But it was terrible because, you know, you're here to teach kids, you're not here to do other things. I just, there was a guy in the community, his name was Paul Stanley. Anybody know Paul? 3 people raised their hand, and that's the way it should be, because he was a long time in the past. Paul got together, I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. And he got all the people in Doylestown that he could. And they met down, I think it was at Stan Gales' house. And he said, if we could only get 84 people, give $1,000 apiece, we could make this up, because our school wasn't gonna start until January. And he went door to door. I did his funeral. I want you to know, at his funeral, I said, that man stuck up for the kids of this community. And all you're here, you're just all here very temporarily. If I last another, God knows, 50 years or whatever, nobody would know who you were. Question is, what are you going to do? What are the people in this town going to do? Because it's your turn. It's the turn of the people who live in Doylestown right now to decide whether or not they're going to support schools. If you decide that that's what you wish to do, if it's really important, the quality of education you give your children. By the way, my grandmother, West Virginia lady from West Union, West Virginia, used to say, there's nothing you can give your child more important than an education. And I think she was pretty smart for not having a high school diploma. So my point to you is, this is not my turn, you know. I have 2 granddaughters, I assume they'll make it through. But it's not about, you know, people say, I don't have any kids, so I'm not worried about it. That's not good thinking. We're all these kids, you know, whether they're playing basketball or doing the drama stuff or whatever, you're supporting them and helping them grow up. I told you, Stanley Boy was a full admiral. We have people down, you gotta walk along here, where they have the Wall of Fame. There's some outstanding people there who did wonderful things. So the question is, and I'll put it to you, what are you going to do? This is your turn. Thank you very much.
Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much. And kind of going the opposite of the spectrum with the up and coming of our community and our society, Hannah and Luke. So you're both students, so you're experiencing this all firsthand. You're the one who's starting your lives here and building from there. What is the support from the community meant of our schools and of yourselves meant to both of you?
So the community, especially in all the stuff I am, is like the biggest support besides like even just, probably even more than just the school itself or a lot of the stuff I'm in. If you take performing arts, a lot of our financial aid comes from you guys, the community, giving us, you know, donations, allowing us to like build these amazing sets for the plays that we have, the musicals. We put a lot of time and effort into that. And it means so much, not just that you guys, you know, help us be able to do all of that, but you come out and then you see us and we get to perform for you guys. That's why we're there. We're not doing it just like, yes, it is fun, but what's the point in having a show in a theater when all the seats are empty? So it means a lot when those are filled. As terrifying as it is to sing in front of people, it's still a joy. And like for marching band, we get like 20 minutes to be on the field and play for you guys, but we practice like 2 hours, like almost 2-3 times a week, so that we can spend 20 minutes playing for you guys in the middle of the game, which you might get concessions during that. It's fine, I get it. We all get hungry. But it's long as one person sees that and says, wow, those kids are having fun, we did good.
Yeah, just like Luke said, whenever I walk onto that stage, I know there's going to be an outpour of love and support, no matter what happens on that stage. Coming off of the 2020 pandemic, we really had to work hard to get some money back because we lost so much. So with our show Sister Act, we were really concerned that not a lot of people were going to come and see it, but we had so much support throughout the entire community, and it was just greatly appreciated. I also come from a very, very long line of Chippewa alums, and I can proudly say that this community has always helped its students, and they have always cheered them on every step of the way throughout the years. Even in the athletics program, when we always have fans who are cheering in the freezing cold. Throughout the ups and downs of life, not one single resident of Doylestown has ever had to wonder if they will be alone. There will always be someone or some group of people for them to lean on, no matter what.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So I have one more question for the group, and then we're going to open up in case anyone in the audience wants to ask a question. But for everyone in the group here, what is one thing that you want to share with the residents of our district as they go to the pools less than a week from today?
I would say, please vote for the levy. I mean, that's kind of why we're all here, but please, because we need this. I mean, all the staff do so much for us, I can say. Personally, they have helped me through so much throughout my life, and I mean, they deserve it.
I don't really have a whole lot to add on to that. It's what it seems like. I mean, it's sure it might be a big chunk of money. It might not be to you. It depends. You probably don't have, you might have kids, you might not, who are in this community, but it means a lot to us, even to just have that small portion from you. It's a lot when it comes all together, and it really supports us in all the stuff we do.
I think we need to support the kids. That's my point.
They're done last two minutes there.
I just really cannot imagine cutting 15% out of the school's budget, is the thing I keep going back to in my head. You know, if somebody told you your household had to cut out 15% of your normal budget, start thinking of the things that would be cut. And when you think about that in a district that relies on that money, I'm sure, I can't speak exactly to what that would be, but I'm sure it would correlate to staff cuts and larger class sizes and technology not being replaced as it dies out. And I just think it would be devastating.
Especially think about that 15% for a school district that's already operating so efficiently in the bottom 20% of operating costs per pupil already, and asking them to go down more. I looked at the numbers, we'd literally be the lowest operating cost of any district in the state of Ohio. But go on, Lindsay, what do you think?
I just want to encourage everyone to vote for the levy, support the schools. It benefits everybody, and it's important not only for our current students, but our future students.
So, any questions from folks in the audience? Anybody want to ask anything of our panelists? I don't know if we have any that came through the Zoom either. All right, well, if you want to ask them later, I'm sure they're going to be around here, probably getting a cookie or two, because we have quite a few. But I want to thank you all for coming out here, your testimonials and about this community and all the work you've put into it are highly regarded, and we've all seen it. So thank you so much.
I just think we ought to give John a hand. I never seen anybody work as hard as he has.
Thank you all. You can hang out here for in front of everyone, so you can just sit down and get a quick photograph. Yeah, why don't you turn one off, or just actually hold it over there, because we're gonna do Q&A here. All right, so while we get ready for Q&A here, you heard some panelists, they said some really amazing, moving stuff. What did you hear from these panelists that was just so compelling to you? Like, what really stuck out? It was hard because there was some pretty moving stuff in there, but what really stuck out to each of you? So if you want to answer in the polls here. Support of the community, there's no doubt about that. I think that is a central thing of what everyone was talking about. And it's our turn to step up. You can't do much better than, taking the mantle to lead from one person and, carrying it forward for the good of our community. It's an amazing message. Those are both tying up their support of the community. It's our turn to step up. It's home. That's an amazing stat. I didn't even actually think about that, of how many of our staff actually work here and live here. Which, interesting thing to look up. I wonder how that compares to folks around us. I imagine this is really, really high, so that is really cool. The schools represent our community. They do it on so many different levels, from, we've seen on athletics with our girls soccer team and our girls volleyball team out there representing, in all the venues that they're playing at, our band, our performing arts, they're all representing. And yeah, that 15%, just think about it. And I recognize it's a tight time for all of us, right? The inflation is rising higher than many of our salaries are. My salary, it's the same thing. It's rising faster than it. But with our schools here, they're already operating efficiently. It's not like there's waste here happening. You look at the hard work that is coming in and putting on all of these teachers, and we're already, like I said, in that bottom 20% of operating costs per student, while at the same time being the top 20% of academic achievement. There's only a handful of school districts in the state that can say they do that. You can look it up. It's not that many. We're doing a ton more with less, and pushing our district to say, hey, you got to cut back 15%. We'd literally be the lowest cost per pupil of any school district in Ohio after that. And the next closest one is not in the top 20% of academic achievement. And the one over that is also, and the one over that is also. So cool, some cool stuff here. So we're getting close to the end, and we're going to have a big Q&A section. I wanted to share you all some resources to check out, so you can learn a little bit more, not only just about the levy, but just about our schools and what they're doing, and the impacts that they're making. You might have seen, we did a whole season of Todd Talks videos. We just put episode 7 out with our Hazel Harvey principal, Angela Jones, that we did that with. It wraps up our first season. We're going to try to do this here again in the spring. We're going to take a little bit of a break after the levy, because we can only use a little bit of a break, especially if it passes. And we're going to go and we're going to talk to more of our staff members as well and get more insights, because I think we've heard some really good responses from folks. And I think it's given a chance for everyone just to know that, these staff are not just, the administrator of their school, but they're people just like us that just deeply care about our students. And that's why they come here every single day. So if you want to watch all of the videos, you can go to toddtalks.onechippewa.org. You can sit down for a while, watch them all, and learn quite a bit. We also have a ton of content on our website, onechippewa.org. We put a lot of information out there. One that we just recently put up there was a deep dive into the football field, which has always been a bit of a question in the district here. And we broke apart where all the costs came from and how that all compares, and how it's actually saved the district money over time. And there's a number of other great content, from report card insight to other things like that. Definitely check it out. We're on the Facebook, the Instagram. And we also have a number of other videos on YouTube. We have a number of great testimonials done. Katie Kager, who's our NHS advisor, did an amazing one about our schools, and I encourage you to check that out. And we've had a number of other folks do as well. So definitely check all that out. And with that here, I want to open it up to questions. Now I have a QR code here in case you don't know where your polling location is. If you snap that QR code, you can pop in your address and it can tell you. I know there's a couple polling locations that have moved around here in the district. So if you're used to going one place, you might have moved around. So it's always good to double check. But I want to open the floor up. Anybody have any questions about anything regarding levy or what you've learned here tonight? And if you're on Zoom, you can put it either in the chat or the Q&A. If you're on Facebook Live, you put it wherever Facebook Live tells you to put it. I'm not as familiar. Okay, we got a question. You might take a mic over there. We've got a portable mic here, so hopefully everyone.
I have a question for you. We have two real estate professionals also in the.
Yeah, we want to do it, otherwise we won't. Just hand the mic up to her. You don't have. That's okay.
I know we have two real estate people, and as a resident, I am curious what you have seen on what does it do to increasing our property values? For those that don't have children, so that they can see that there is also a benefit. Is there a?
Watch it, look at both of our real estate agents pointing at each other to answer that question. Which one's gonna take this one?
Mrs. DeAngelis?
Yeah, if we could take the mic back to her so that way everyone can hear. And it also will get.
I'm sorry.
Thinking, if you don't support your schools, what it does to your real estate versus passing it's the same difference, I guess, but it's keeping your schools here will help your real estate because you move here and we're shipping them out to, Carl talked about when we talked about consolidating. I can remember standing at football games and it was like, don't make the blue turn black. We didn't want to merge with Rittman. Sorry if you're publicly putting this out there, but that was a big deal. But it's more, you don't want to see what it would do to your real estate if you let your schools go down because they definitely draw. Lindsay spoke of it. They definitely, you look at that report card and you want to move to a good school district and you want that in your neighborhood and you want to know where your kids are at. So yes, it definitely affects your real estate.
Absolutely. Doylestown has been fortunate to have such a strong real estate, environment. And I think one of the other pieces of research we did, I think with Speaker Pockets did a survey. It said, schools, communities with 4 and 5-star school districts, their housing values are nearly recession-proof. Meaning they don't, you don't see those dips with recession as bad as you do in other communities. So it's a huge, huge part of it. So thank you, Vicki, and thank you for the question, Mindy. Any other questions we have from the group? I don't know if we've got any through the online, the Zoom. Must be like answering everyone's questions amazingly, or we've got everyone full on food enough that they don't know what to do with themselves. All right. Well, if we don't have any further questions, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I especially want to thank all of the staff here that has spent their entire evening hanging out, cooking our food, serving our food. Many of you have also did desserts over there. Take some when you go. This is what's made this all possible because they all just stepped up and said, we're just going to make this happen because we love this town. And that's pretty darn amazing. So another round of applause for them. And thank you all very much. Vote yes on Tuesday. If you need to know your polling place, snap the QR code. You can find it if you have questions. We'll be around here for a little bit. Thank you.